Morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It's Gridiron Garage Thursday. As always, I'm your host, Zach Curtis. Alongside of me today is at Big Daddy Griff. What's going on, buddy?
How's it going?
It's going good. We're man down today. Man down. At J Law is out there enjoying some skiing with his dad out in, where do you go, Utah?
Utah.
So
shredding some gnar.
We'll miss you, buddy, but can't wait to see you back on the pod next week. But I have to address something to all the listeners. Last week's episode, I said something very outlandish, and I got a lot of heat for it. And I just want to come out and apologize for all those that I have offended by calling Derek Jeter the GOAT of all GOATs. I know it was something that probably shouldn't have come out of my mouth, but it did. And you know what? Oh, well. Just like Tom Brenneman says, you make mistakes in your broadcast career, and sometimes it costs you, but sometimes you can come out and just say, I'm sorry. We're going to move on from it.
And there's a deep drive out to left field, and Castellanos is the home run. The Reds lead 5-0.
But yeah, I just want to go on record that I really don't think Derek Jeter's the GOAT of all GOATs. I do think he's a good shortstop, though. Arguably top 5 shortstop.
Better than Sammy Baugh, though?
Dude, Sammy Baugh doesn't even come close to Derek Jeter. Not even close at all. But we got a good episode for today. Some stuff, popping off in the NFL. Something just happened in the MLB right before we started recording. Stick around for that. But let's hit some music, boys. Like the shit Ho. And we're back. J-Law is not here today. That's all right. We brought along one of our other buddies, and his name, I won't even tell you his name, because he is what? A rec league MVP? 3-time MVP?
I am all-star.
All-star.
3-point specialist.
3-point specialist. In the studio tonight is our buddy, JT. JT, welcome to the Gridiron Garage. I'd just like to say, long-time listener, number one fan, number one critic, and we finally found a spot for you to get in. You would have been here a lot sooner if I would have just, muscled up and bought a 4th mic, but, life goes on.
Hey, it's all good. Plan works out. Talked about getting on early, but stuff happens. But, we're here now. We talked about the present. Glad to be on. Looking forward to a good show tonight, boys.
Griff, you know that I've been trying to get this guy on since summer.
Yeah, you ghosted him twice.
No. You and Jay Law has ghosted him twice. I've been like, hey, man, your buddy JT's coming on. Ooh, what are we going to talk with him
That's not
about?
how it happened.
That is how it happened.
No, it was. We'll say it live on the pod here so everyone knows. Here's how it happened. It was, hey, because we talked about a week in advance. Hey, we'll probably have JT on next week. All right, cool. And we all said, all right, cool. Then, the day the pod happens, and Zach's like, hey, JT's supposed to be on, but we don't really have a lot of stuff prepared. What should we do? And they said, we'll just push it to next week. And everyone's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So we were all complicit. It wasn't just me, it wasn't Jake. Zach's not taking any. Zach was the one that started that narrative, right? Because remember we got there, and me and Jake, you made the layout that week. Me and Jake were like, oh, did you prepare any questions for JT? And I was like, no. He's like, did you? He's like, no. I was like, it's JT. We'll just bullshit. It'll be fine. And then Zach's like, I didn't really prepare anything either. He's like, we'll just push it to next week. 5 months later.
These guys are leaving out one significant detail.
Oh, God.
They never told me that I was getting pushed back. So just think of it like this, listeners. You send a Hail Mary text to the girl of your dreams or something along those lines, and you don't hear back. Got ghosted. And you're like, okay, maybe she didn't get it. The iPhones are a little messed up sometimes. Maybe it came as a green text and she didn't know it was me. Sent the Hail Mary text again. She didn't reply. See her in public. Oh, sorry, got a new number. That's what it felt like. I was like, these boys just hung me out. I was like, they could have told me, hey, we just didn't have any stuff for you. Come on next week. But sat on my phone looking at 9 p.m. waiting for that call. Never got that call, boys.
It's whatever. He's on the pod. So for a little bit of a background about JT, I'd say that you're a pretty avid sports fan, right?
Yeah, I love sports.
Yeah.
Definitely really into NFL, NBA. Me and Griff probably know that same amount of knowledge in NBA, but yeah, mostly NFL, NBA. Don't know a lot about MLB, but listen to you all. I could pick up some little tidbits here and there. Maybe I might pick a team to like this year.
There you go.
You never know.
I think you should go on record right now on the Gridiron Garage and pick an MLB team. I did it a few weeks, or probably a few months ago now. I'm a big Denver Nuggets
Zach's
fan.
the biggest Nuggets fan I know, actually.
Like, I only know 2 players on there, but I'm a huge fan.
Hey, right here, right now?
Yeah, right here, right now. Who you picking?
All right, we're going to pick
Don't do it. I know you're going to
I know who he's going to pick.
White Sox, baby. I got the jersey already in my closet. Man, I'm going to start doing some research, but boy, I'm about to be the biggest White Sox fan y'all boys ever seen.
It makes sense, though. I mean, if you're not like a fan of a sport, right, you just casually watch it every now and then, but you already got a jersey from a team,
But
it makes sense to be like, I already got a jersey. I'll be a fan of the team. Makes
But
sense.
I just want to know how the White Sox came about.
So,
Because they're not a good team.
Well, they're actually pretty good right now. They're
Well,
they're
right
good
now,
this year.
but historically.
I mean, you know,
Won a World
it just
Series
seemed like
before the Reds did last.
It seemed like a gritty Chicago team. Like,
Yep.
you know, you got those Northerner Cubs.
Ugh.
I mean, Griff's all right, but
How many White Sox games you been to?
none.
How many
Damn.
Cup games you been to?
Been to more.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a fan until right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
You're right. You're right. You ever seen the White
scoreboards
Sox
are-
Stadium?
Haven't been to it.
It's ugly. It's really
fun.
ugly.
It's
I've been to the
Gritty.
White Sox Stadium 2 times, and I've watched 2 games there. Loyal fan base. Very loyal fan base. The worst stadium. That's just like Paul Brown making a baseball stadium, because that's what it looks like. Just shit green seats and like the worst backdrop you could ever find. It's literally the highway. That isn't
Yeah.
left center field. It's just a
So,
highway.
I don't even remember, JT, when we went to see the last couple Cup games we went to in Chicago. When we were driving, I probably pointed it out twice. And if you look right there, that's the White Sox. And you literally pass it right on the Dan Ryan when you're going down to Chicago.
Yeah.
It's on the south side. So when you enter from the south, when we're us driving up north there, right? You literally drive right past it. And every time I look, I'm like, God, it's fucking ugly.
It's ugly. How about the boy from San Diego just getting paid?
Fernando Tatis just got, like, literally as we were starting the pod, we were prepping a couple questions like right before we started, and Zach pointed it out, and he just got paid $340 million over 14 seasons. 14. That's got to be the longest, like, year length, like, 10-year deal that I've seen in professional sports.
No,
outside
the
of
Mets.
What do you mean?
They paid that one guy. They're still paying him.
So, yeah, but that's different. They restructured his contract. They didn't sign him for 30 years. They signed him for like a 7-year deal. But then he was, when it was getting closer to the end and he wasn't doing as well, they said, let's restructure. And his agent just said, hey, we'll do it. We'll just take like $1 million a year, you know what I mean, for the next 30 years. Then you guys will only lose $1 million every single year, which is dumb in the Mets part. We've talked about it before. But this is the longest deal that someone signed. Like signing a 14-year contract where I'm making $25 million every single season.
That's
so
crazy.
I'm not talking about restructures, because there's definitely some players gotten restructured and gotten like paid over a certain amount of time. But I'm curious to see like what some of the closest ones are. The only other ones I can think of, and it's not part of the 4 major sports. It's a little bit different because it's like contracts they sign like drivers to in NASCAR. But I know like Jeff Gordon had like a lifetime contract with the 24 car. So his contract was similar like Coach Cal, right? Didn't Coach Cal get a lifetime
he got
contract?
a lifetime contract this summer.
So it was similar to that. It was like, hey, you can drive the 24 car. You can drive the 24 car like forever. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I can equate it to. And they probably figured out a flat rate, but $340 million equates to almost $25 million a year. I don't know where this ranks in the richest contracts. I think Trout's is more money.
Bryce Harper got, I think, $330 million for 13 years. So
Yeah, so
that's
this
pretty
is
close.
Yeah, this is bigger than his contract. Then I want to say Trout's was $400 million, right? I think that's what you said.
I know it was somewhere around 400.
For a long
I think that's
time.
what I said before we started the podcast. But
I can't find it on here.
I mean, either way, that's just an outrageous amount of money. So how do you guys feel about? We're not going to get in the whole salary cap debate because I want to save that for next week with the boy J Law. But how do you feel about like players in general just getting paid millions of dollars?
I mean, I feel like I guess there's like 2 sides to it. It just depends on what side you stand on. I mean, these guys bring in so much money to, their teams, so business organization. So that's why they can afford to give like these guys a lot of money, because they are like, that's their value to that organization. And it could even be more like than that contract. So, I mean, I can hate on it and say like, oh, the athletes make so much money, but I mean, they bring in a lot of money and it's good. Like it's their
No, it makes
business.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I see it is like you should get paid like what you're worth and what you're worth to your company, right? So I equate this. Think about a regular company you're working for, right? If you guys are just working a regular 9-to-5 job and you're making the company X amount of dollars, they're paying you X amount of dollars. the goal is that you're going to make more money for that company or be more of use to the company than what they're paying you, right? Or at the same, right? If you're worth less to the company than what they're paying you, there's no point in keeping you. So when I look at it with baseball players, NFL players, things like that, these like teams are making billions of dollars every year, millions of dollars, right? And the owners are billionaires, right? So how would it be fair to the players if they're going to pay them $400,000 a year, which is a lot of money, right? I think we would all love to make that much money.
Right.
But then they're making like, billions off of it, right? And so when Fernando Tatis's name alone is going to sell, hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars every year in jersey sales, right, for the team and for the MLB, it makes sense that he should get money back on that. So I think it's fine. I can understand people saying they get paid way too much, but it'd be different if the teams were making less money, right? If the team's only making X amount of dollars a year and it's half of what they're making now, then he's going to get half that size of the contract. But because they're making that much money and they want to keep him, it makes sense to pay him that much because why would you not? Like, he's just going to piss him off if you pay him less, because then it would be a different debate is why are making MLB players making this little when their billionaire owners, which they do suck, are making, boku bucks off their name and rights, right?
Yeah.
So it can be the same debate for like college basketball as well. That's why people want college basketball players to get paid, because the colleges are making insane amounts of money on them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like, you're like thinking about it on a business standpoint, because they are bringing in, X amount of dollars for the team, like in ticket sales. Like, think about, I'll just throw LeBron out there. I would probably never go watch an NBA game, but if LeBron was going to be there, I probably would go buy a ticket just because I want to see LeBron. Or like Michael Jordan or, Tom Brady, any of those people, Kobe, RIP. But like, I think the Buccaneers are playing in Cincinnati next year, the Bengals. And I thought about like, hey, that would be cool to go see the GOAT play football. So I agree with like what you're saying. And also, the more fans you have in the seats, the more like people who advertise in the stadium, like for example, P&G, Kroger, things like that, like that's more exposure to their brand. So they're going to want to pay more, which ultimately like adds to the revenue, which, can provide like
so
more.
If you think about it too, like, because there's a salary cap in the NBA, there's no salary cap in the NFL, MLB. I would venture to say too that LeBron is making a shit ton of money this year, right? He's got a huge contract. He's probably underpaid for what he brings into the Lakers, if you think about it, right? So if he was that good and he played in the MLB for that much money, right? If you think about it, he'd be like $50+ million a year he'd be making if he was in the MLB, where they had an unlimited amount of money to spend. They could just offer, anything they wanted, right? If you think about the amount of money he probably, I'd venture to say, and you guys can disagree if you want, but I venture to say he's probably the most profitable athlete in the world right now, or one of the most, as far as the amount of money he makes for his team and for his sport. Because, like, think about all the money he just brings in just being at a game, right? The only ones I can equate it to is probably Tiger Woods and Serena Williams are bringing a lot of money for their sports. The soccer players like Ronaldo and Messi probably do. And then I know Tom Brady brings in a lot of money, but Patrick Mahomes is probably coming close to that because everyone wants to see him play. But LeBron James is probably the premier athlete. I think if you asked anyone right now to name an athlete, name any athlete that currently plays a sport, a lot of people would say LeBron James, right? So if you think about him making $38 million a year, 40, I don't know what he makes, something probably around that though, right?
Something around there. Yeah, he makes a good amount with the Lakers.
He could probably make $65 million a year theoretically, and the Lakers would still be making in the green. They'd be making tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of money. You know what I mean? So he's probably underpaid technically, even though he's making that much money, which is crazy to think about. Where the MLB, they can pay whatever they want because there's no salary cap. So
yeah, and it's crazy. And kind of going off what Zach said as far as putting fans in seats. I distinctly remember, so whenever LeBron was on his way back to Cleveland, I think Twitter was still getting kind of popular. Whenever LeBron left the Heat to go back to Cleveland, they lost 250,000 followers off Twitter.
Yeah.
Because that's just how big of a following he is. And I'm sure it's the same with the Lakers. Whenever he left, they started getting more following because you have people that are just LeBron fans where they're I don't care about the team per se, but they're I love LeBron. I will support everywhere he goes. So that's kind of just bouncing on what Zach said as far as the whole fan.
I mean, he's literally probably the best marketing tactic any team can have in the NBA right now, and not to mention he's probably also the best player in the NBA. Yeah. So it's a twofold. If he's on your team, you're going to make millions of extra dollars that you would have made the year before, and you're going to win tons more games. So it makes sense that they're paying him that much money. And then if you think about Fernando Tatis, the dude's 22 years old. So he's younger than all of us, right? He's younger than all of us. 14 years. By the time his contract's over, he's going to be almost 37. I think he'll be turning 37 that season.
Jeez. So do you think that gives him wiggle room for another end of career 4-year deal?
Yeah, it does. I don't know all the details of it yet. So basically, it could be, because I know, for instance, Trevor Bauer's deal, he signed a 3-year contract, making like $40 million a year or something crazy, or whatever it was.
With the Dodgers?
For the Dodgers. So he signed
It's only a 3-year deal?
It's only a 3-year deal, but
Wow.
it's 3 1-year contracts. So he technically, the Dodgers can let him go after 1 year, and he can leave after 1 year or 2 years if he wanted to. So I don't know, it might be a 14-year deal, but that might be like, you know, a 7-year deal, and then like there might be like an option, right, where he can leave or the team can cut him off if he starts playing bad, or there might be like then 7 more 1-year deals. I don't know what the details are, but that's a way the owners can get around like paying out in the future if like he works out for the first 5 years and he just falls off, and then now we're paying him $28 million or $25 million a year to be bad, right? They can get out of it then. So
Is there, you mentioned the NCAA like paying college athletes. Is there going to be a salary cap per se? Like you're only going to get X amount of your jersey sales, but if you go, you know, do a car commercial, you can get like as much money as you want. Like, have they talked about all that, or how's that structured?
there's been tons. I mean, they have no idea what they're going to do. To be honest, there have been tons and tons of talks about whether. I know the player likeness deal is getting done. That'll be done in the next couple of years. So that's the reason that NCAA football is coming back. Hopefully, I know it's right now they just said college football, so they don't have NCAA rights yet, but I think they will. So the goal is that players can make money off their likeness. So as of right now, I don't even think college players can make money off like YouTube videos or anything.
They can't now.
So they
They'll
can
become ineligible.
So
to do,
yeah, so they can like create like take a picture of this. Zion Williamson could have made his own vlog channel while he was at Duke, right? And he was
crazy.
by far the most famous college athlete in like years, right? Everyone knew who Zion was. So he can make YouTube videos, and YouTube would start paying him because he's getting all these ads, right? He would have to turn down the ads. He would not be able to accept the ads, or else he would not be able to play. Even though, because that's stupid, honestly, in my opinion, right? I can understand the concept of saying that the colleges shouldn't pay the players because then they'd have to have a super structured program because teams like Duke, UNC, and UK could say, all right, we'll pay this guy $1 million to play here, right? Whereas, you know, Auburn, right, can only pay him like $300,000, right? But the player likeness makes no sense to me that these teams are selling Zion Williamson jerseys in college and probably making over millions of dollars off his jersey sales from all around the world, right, or around the country, sorry. And he gets $0 out of that. You know what I mean? That's the part that I don't understand, and that's why the YouTube one blows my mind. They can't even get a job because you've worked in that life before too, and you couldn't even get a job. They couldn't even get jobs, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a whole lot that goes into like NCAA compliance. So there's like so many like little rules where it just creates like some that it's like kind of confusing because. Like, I didn't work in compliance, but, you know, working in recruiting, you have to make sure that you do things properly because it can be seen as an improper benefit. And 2 stories that I kind of remember in college that we talked about in classes was, one, there was a kicker. I don't know if you all remember him for UCF. His name was Donald Brown. He's now a YouTuber, but when he was at UCF, he was making content on YouTube, like whether it's kicking videos or just blogging and stuff. So the NCAA found out, and they pretty much were like, you can give all the money back and continue to be a football player for UCF, or you can still make videos, but you can't play football anymore. And he kind of shed light to that and was like, how is that fair to me? Like, it's my content. Like, I'm the one making the YouTube and stuff. And so eventually he said, like, screw football. Like, I'm just going to make my own content. And he actually makes some pretty good content now. But
Hold on, question about that. Was he kicking in, like, school clothes? Like, did it have UCF anywhere on it, or was it just he was going to a random football field and like kicking in Nike shorts and a T-shirt?
He may have been wearing school stuff. He may have been on UCF grounds. I'll have to look back at some of the videos because this is like back in 2016, 2017, I think. Because I was still in college, but I just remember that and I was like, dang, that like kind of sucks. Like where you have to choose between the two.
I'm sure there's probably a time he probably wore it. The one thing I want to shed light on that blows my mind, right? So think about it this way, right? For example, say Joe Burrow had his own YouTube channel in college, right? And he, you know, was super famous his senior year, right? And made a bunch of videos. So he has his own YouTube channel. He wears LSU stuff, but he doesn't upload any videos because it'll be a violation. You won't be able to play, right? He finishes the national championship, okay? Wins the national championship. That night, he can post a YouTube video, and because his college eligibility is done. He can post a YouTube video, take ads on it, and there's nothing the NCAA can really do about it, wearing LSU stuff. But 2 hours earlier before the game, if he'd done it, right, it would be violation and LSU would get fined and he'd get in trouble. Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah, the thing that I don't understand is what if I went to a college, like a big college like LSU, okay? I wasn't an athlete, but I was still a famous YouTuber. like what differentiates like a player from going to that college and me going to that college and making YouTube videos and making,
it's all
$100,000 a year,
right? So, I think the way the NCAA looks at it is like, this guy went to LSU to play at LSU, had a really good football career, got a really good education, and he was able to make money on the side doing YouTube videos. I can do the same thing, right? So that's the reason they see that's improper. That's going to get them more recruits. And it's going to be unfair because everyone's going to go to LSU to make money on the side during YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's because they're a college athlete. If you're not a college athlete, your YouTube videos aren't going to help kids become to the school to be recruits, right? Unless your YouTube videos were literally saying like, hey, you should come to LSU and I will give you money, right? If you were like actually helping the team recruit using your YouTube videos and you weren't affiliated to the team, that'd probably be like illegal boosting or something. That's where the boosters get in trouble for paying kids and things like that. That'd be a little bit different. But if you're just like a mountain bike content creator, right, that goes to LSU or goes to, we'll say Appalachian State up in the mountains there in Pennsylvania, right? They're not going to come at you because you have no affiliation with the university. You see what I mean? But when you're wearing the team's jersey every Saturday, right, you have affiliation with the university, and it's unfair benefits to the rest of the team and the rest of the people that want to go there and to go to other schools. So that's the whole reason to look at it. I understand it from that aspect, but I think it's dumb that they can't make any money off their own likeness. That's the part that blows my mind. So, and
then like going back on like the structure that because we also talked about that in class as well. Like I don't know how the NCAA is going to attack it, just because. Like, I don't know if you make it a conference by conference where each team gets X amount of money, to give to their players per sport and whatnot. Because, you get into that gray area where, like, the bottom tier of, like, one of the best conferences gets more money than a team that may not be, like, seen as in, like, a stronger conference, but they produce more wins, et cetera, and stuff. So that's why I'm not sure how the NCAA is going to attack it. I guess the likeness is a good start because, kind of like you said, where NCAA athletes bring so much money to that school. Like, you got Reggie Bush, for example, like how much money he brought to USC, and like he doesn't see a dime of that. And like, sure, like they get like a free scholarship and stuff, but I mean,
not what you mean.
I'm like, if I'm like 21 years old, and I'm bringing millions to the school, and I can't get like any of that, like that wouldn't sit right.
It doesn't feel right because you think about like a college athlete, and we obviously went to Eastern, so it's a little bit different. We'll say like a big Division I school like USC or something like that. Mm-hmm. So what they're getting for the most part is getting a free education, which is really, really helpful, right? That's awesome. That makes sense, right? They're also getting free food, right? They're getting a bunch of free clothes and a bunch of free swag, which makes sense. I mean, and it's usually probably team themed, things like that. It makes sense. Beyond that, they're probably getting access to tutors, things like that. All that makes sense. But what if you want to get something on your personal life, right? Say you want the new Xbox that came out, right? How are you going to afford that?
Well, they get like a monthly stipend, don't they?
Yeah, so whenever you get a scholarship, you'll probably have, depending on, so if you live on campus, you'll probably have like some leftover money. So that's where like they probably get most of their spending from because, and I can't remember 100%. I'd have to go back and look at it because I think some players were allowed to have jobs because they weren't like under scholarship because a lot of people don't realize there's not a whole lot of people on scholarship, like especially for football teams. Like usually they're on half scholarships or they're preferred walk-on, where they literally pay to go to school and they also like pay to play football essentially. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the players that have like a full scholarship, right? And they're not allowed to have a job to get any extra disposable income. So their only disposable income is a stipend they give them, which I guarantee is probably less they'd make at working 30 hours a week, even as a part-time job. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm getting at is like, they're making, kind of dirt shit money every single week or every single month, whatever the stipend may be, to use for their, their leisure time or whatever they want to do, whether it's buying that Xbox or say they're big into mountain biking and they want to buy a mountain bike and they can't afford it because they have to wait for the next 3 stipends to be able to afford it.
Right.
But then the team makes millions of dollars off their jersey. And all it goes into is just getting the next generation of players that are going to do the same exact thing, make them millions of more dollars. I think that's kind of ass backwards.
I feel like I kind of agree with that because, like, yes and no. So I think that it's hard to say college athletes should be paid, but I also see why they should be paid at the same time. So I think that they should be paid because of the same reason like we've been talking about is like they bring in money for their school and blah, blah, blah. But I find it hard that if, let's say – whoever, Desean Watson, when he played at Clemson, like if he wanted to go work at, the local grocery store, like bagging food, like what's the difference between him doing that and like making content on YouTube to where he could get paid like doing both things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no, like let's say nobody knew who he was bagging groceries. Like he's getting a paycheck. You know that I feel like that's kind of the same thing. It's like people are not going to know who you are like early on in your YouTube career, but like you could still make a couple $100 a month, and that could buy you whatever. You know, like say you make $500, that buys you a new Xbox or something like that.
I feel you.
So, but also with Desean Watson, it's like he could have made a lot of money early on, or now he could be, stuck in a contract at Houston wanting out of it. So what do you think that Desean Watson does with that in Houston? You think he stays? You think he goes? You think the Texans hold him there?
I don't think they're going to hold him there because I feel like the stance that he's built up at this point is like,
yeah, I don't think
I'm not going to play for y'all. Like I feel like he's made it very clear. He's like it definitely released his media team or management team released it, and like everyone's like, oh, it's a rumor. Like there's no way Desean Watson gets traded, and then it starts like piling up, and like I think it's to the point now where he's like, I'm not going to be a Houston Texan next year, and you all need to figure out where you're going to trade me to. And the kicker is too that he has a no trade clause, so it's not like they can just ship him off to like some crappy team. Like they could like send a package to a team. He's like, no, I don't want to play there. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
I don't think he ever wears the Texans jersey again. I think there's a chances on the team next year if they can't get a deal done, but he's just going to hold out. Like even if he loses a bunch of money, I think he's just like, I'm not playing for you.
Where do you think like the best fit is for him though? When like let's say he does get traded, I know like DeAndre Hopkins said, let's finish what we started. Do you think that he could battle it out with Kyler Murray, or do you think that Kyler Murray's their guy in Arizona? Like,
I don't think they're getting rid of Kyler Murray. I think the only way to get rid of Kyler Murray is if they get a new head coach. And even I think if they get a new head coach, I think he'd probably stick with Kyler Murray.
Right.
I think that I like the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins should go for him. I think that can help out a lot.
What about your boy Tua?
I like Tua, but I don't know. I think Deshaun Watson's going to be a better player, and currently is a better player. I don't think Tua is better than Deshaun Watson. So
I think Tua's going to be a flop.
I think if you have, I don't want to say it'll be a flop. I mean, you never know. I mean, it's so people were talking about like how Fitzpatrick outplayed him. Fitzpatrick didn't really play that great. He just had some big plays, and their defense was really, really, really good. He threw a lot of picks, but Tua definitely had some bad plays too. I think that if you get a chance to get Deshaun Watson though, like with that defense, all they'd really need is like an offensive line, right, and maybe another receiver. They definitely need another receiver, that's for sure. But between Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, and Mike Gesicki, that's pretty good offensive core there. They need an offensive line though because they don't have Tunsil anymore.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that was part of their plan to like trade Tunsil to the Texans.
Yeah,
and then in return get Watson a few years down the road.
So if they did that, right, I'm trying to think how that worked out. So if they did that trade, then they would basically get.
I know that they got a shit ton of like first round picks from the Dolphins.
Basically they'd be trading back Houston's pick essentially. So Houston would be trading Deshaun Watson for their pick back that they got Tunsil for. Jeez. So I think that's pretty bad business.
It is pretty bad business
to get rid of your franchise quarterback for a first round pick that you gave up to get an offensive lineman who makes a shit ton of money who's not as good as he used to be. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty funny. But I like Miami, and then I think it'd be funny if he went to the Bears, just for the fact that there were all the Bears jokes about they passed on him. I think it'd be funny. I don't know. I still don't think a Bears quarterback will ever be good, so I think it'd probably ruin his career. But
speaking of the Bears, did you hear the rumors that they're interested in Carson Wentz?
Yeah, Wentz said he doesn't want to play for him, though.
Yeah, but could you imagine Carson Wentz and Nick Foles back in the same situation that they were in Philly?
Well, supposedly the trade would be for Nick Foles. So
okay.
It would be Nick Foles and picks for Carson Wentz. That's
so then eventually, so they're going to get Nick Foles back for like a discounted rate, essentially?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to think about that. I mean, they're getting rid of their quarterback, but yeah.
Right, but like...
I think they're getting more. I don't know.
They traded him to Jacksonville, and he got a big-ass contract, didn't he?
Well, and no, I thought Jacksonville signed him.
Jacksonville just signed him,
big
yeah.
Deal.
Okay.
Because I think he was an unrestricted free agent, and they were like, we're just going to stick with Wentz. Wentz is our guy.
And so then so they signed a big contract in Jacksonville, and then they traded that to the Bears. So then the Bears obtained his contract?
So the Bears got Wentz, or not Wentz, they got Foles.
Talk in the end right here.
Pull it up.
Pull it upward. Yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
Sorry, we gotta help JT out on his mic a little bit.
It's all right.
Sorry about that. First time.
Just keep it like right with your mouth.
Okay,
got it.
So when the Bears traded for Foles, they took on his contract, but they got him to restructure where I think he was taking less money to go to the Bears. So I guess if they send him back to the Eagles. I don't know how much money he was making with the Eagles when he was their backup there. I assume he probably made less just because he was their backup and wasn't bringing a lot of money. So I guess they're gonna be paying more than what they had him for, but I think it'd be less than Wentz though. Still,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Hopefully, I mean, I hate on Carson Wentz a lot because I'm a Cowboys fan. I actually don't think he's a bad guy, and I kind of feel bad for him that he gets so much shit. But at the same time, it is hilarious to watch him play quarterback because he has so many ridiculous fumbles. I'm like, why would you fumble that? Like, just throw it away. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I kind of hope he does good somewhere else, just not with the Eagles because I hate the Eagles.
What about the Colts? Do you think that's a good fit? Because he's expressed interest.
I think that'd be his best fit. That'd be his best chance to succeed for sure. Would be with the Colts. I think.
And so
they need receivers though.
So I've gone back and forth on like my thoughts on Wentz. Like I don't think he's awful. Like how some people like write him up. He's like a god awful quarterback. What I think is it's more like a mechanics issue and like a decision making issue because it seems like after that Super Bowl run, he was pressing the issue a lot more, trying to be more Superman. And sometimes you can have those superhero moments on the field where like dang, this dude's dialed in. But then you have those times where you're like, why did he like try to force that throw? And then like he was just missing throws that he was making early in his career. So I think him going back to the Colts will be good for him because then he would be back with who is I think it's their OC there.
Frank Reich. Frank Reich was the OC when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and Frank Reich loves Carson Wentz. So I think Wentz going back and being under him would be probably good for his mental stability. Like he would actually have a coach that loves him because I think that him and Doug Peterson did not. They did not get along whatsoever, and like that's kind of like what escalated this whole last.
So
last year.
I have a theory on that. I think it was because him and Carson. So I think he was calling certain plays, and Carson Wentz said these were dumb plays, and Carson Wentz was trying to change plays up, and Doug Peterson was going over him saying, "I'm the head coach. You got to run the plays I'm telling you." And he said, "Okay, I'm fine with that." Then the play wouldn't work, and I think he'd go back to him and say, "I told you that wasn't going to work. We should have ran this." And then Doug Peterson was just like, "Oh, I'm the alpha, right?" And I think it was a 2 alpha problem where they were basically like almost where Carson Wentz was like, "That's going to be a dumb play. We need to run this," and then they would just butt heads. And so then eventually, what Doug Peterson does when he benches him, right? Who's he put in? A rookie. And you think a rookie's going to stand up to the head coach and say, "That's a dumb play, coach"?
Yeah.
No, he's not going to do that. So I think that's the problem with Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. I think that's where the thing went wrong, and I think that the organization kind of backed Peterson more than Wentz. I think that's really what kind of pissed him off.
I think Jalen Hurts can do well with the Eagles, but I think it also depends on who they surround him with.
No, for sure.
But I want to go back to what you said, and I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, it might be a hot take, but let me know what you think.
All right.
So Carson Wentz obviously got them to the playoffs that year that they won the Super Bowl. And then unfortunately, was it the last game of the season or was it the first round of the playoffs?
It was like
3 games
it was like
left.
against the Rams. I think it was like a few games left, yeah.
So tore his ACL. And then Nick Foles ended up, carrying him through the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. So I personally think that even though Carson Wentz got them there, I feel like Nick Foles did, more of the hard work because once you're in the playoffs, like you're playing very good teams who have also made the playoffs.
Beat Tom Brady.
And then beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. Like I find it hard to debate that Carson Wentz is better than Nick Foles.
Well, the one thing I want to throw out there is that a healthy Carson Wentz with a healthy offensive line, that's been the issue. Their offensive line was top 2, and it was literally them and the Cowboys had the 2 best offensive lines that season, right? And the Cowboys' offensive line got hurt, so then it was head over heels the Eagles, right? Healthy Jason Kelsey, healthy Lane Johnson. I'm probably missing some people.
Healthy Jason Peters.
Jason
even though
Peters.
he's like been
iffy, and they have one more guy. They have one more really good offensive line on that team, too. Can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
Crap, I can't remember his name. Brandon Brooks. Yeah. He's a really good offensive lineman. So they were all really healthy, right?
Right.
Ever since then, they have not been healthy. Like, every single one of them's gotten hurt and missed extended periods of time. And that is why you see Carson Wentz running around all over the place. So when he had the time to throw, I think it's pretty obvious quarterbacks do better when they have time to throw.
Right.
But also, I feel like when the play broke down and he was making those Superman plays, they were actually like working out that season. And ever since then, they have not. It's just been turning to fumbles and picks. But he had a really healthy offensive line. Alshon Jeffrey was actually healthy. When he's healthy, he's a really good wide receiver, and he has not been healthy since then. And Zach Ertz was healthy, and it was actually really good. So the difference is he had a really, really, really good receiving core at the time, and probably the best offensive line in football, top 2 for sure, but maybe even the best offensive line. If you put Nick Foles on this Eagles team that they had this year, I think it's worse, honestly. He's nowhere near as mobile as Carson Wentz. I know Carson Wentz fumbled a lot because he was mobile, but like Nick Foles would have gotten sacked even more because he's literally a statue. Like I'll put him in this spec. He's got like 50 speed in Madden, so like he's not running anywhere. So Carson Wentz
is a statue too.
Carson Wentz, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. They said Nick Foles is super slow.
Yeah, but like he actually has a statue for winning the Super Bowl.
No, but what I'm saying is like Carson Wentz was actually even to evade some sacks and he would turn to dumb picks. But like I don't know about the throwing talent. I don't think just like Nick Foles like a head over heels better thrower than Carson Wentz. I mean I think they both have really strong arms, but I don't see it working out with the way they had. Their offensive line was so good that he hardly got pressured in that playoff run. He was insane. He had a bunch of time to throw. Look at the Bears this year. He didn't do that great with the Bears, right? But their offensive line was really bad. So, yeah, he was getting sacked all the time, and they couldn't do anything. So, I think it's worse with him there. I think Carson Wentz gave him a better shot to win. And then Jalen Hurts is the best runner out of them all. He was able to basically outrun sacks and things like that. So, I think that's kind of the way I look at it. I don't think – I always made the jokes that Nick Foles was better, but I never really believed it. So, I hope Carson Wentz gets another shot, just not with the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I feel like they would both have to, I guess prove the league wrong that they're still competitive quarterbacks, but – as you guys always say, Russell Wilson won 2 Super Bowls, so he has to be elite, right? Or
he won one.
Yeah, he went to 2. Won one. But Nick Foles, he won a Super Bowl.
I guess so. Yes, I will give Nick Foles his credit because that is an incredible run to be able to just take over a team in week 12.
Yeah, I agree with that.
think, and then ride them out when the Eagles a Super Bowl championship. However, I don't think Nick Foles has ever from week 1 all the way through taking a team to the playoffs to argue that because he was on the Eagles before back when what's his name was their head coach, Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly. He had one season where they kind of did that, but he only played like 13 games. He didn't play every 16, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't think – like, the way I saw it was I don't think Nick Foles can take a team to the playoffs.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
And it is – like I said, I'm not going to take away at all that he won a Super Bowl because that's not easy to do. But I think – for him to be a day one starter and all the way through, I don't think he can win you a Super Bowl from that.
So he had the one season, Chip Kelly, like you said, he went 29-2, 29 touchdowns, 2 picks, really, really good, right? I think he played like 13, 14 games, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs, if I remember. Ever since then, he's like had stats nowhere even remotely close to that. Like he's been nowhere near as good.
Right.
The outside of that playoff run where he was insane, he threw like 1 pick, I think, and like had 9 touchdowns, or hell, he had 5 in the Super Bowl, I think. So he probably had more than 9 touchdowns. But that was like that's the peak of him. I don't think you're ever gonna get better than that unless you put him like on a team that's completely stacked. Because that Eagles team offensively and defensively was really good. You know what I mean? They were a really good team.
They were good that year. Yeah.
And even if you put him on a stacked team now, like I don't think he's as good as he was 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or 3 years, or whatever year that was. 4 years ago now, right? So he's 4 years older. He's even slower and less athletic. I seriously don't think he's. I don't know. He's what? I would venture to say he's probably like 34, 35.
I don't know. I don't have my laptop in front of me because Mac decided to fuck me over. But I don't know. To be honest with you,
a little overrating.
I'm just trying to create some diversity between the two. I really don't give a shit. But
no, I mean I could care less where both of them go.
All I'm saying is that Nick Foles has a Super Bowl ring as a starter. So that's pretty much equivalent in my eyes to Russell Wilson. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just kidding.
I don't know about that one.
So what about the other Houston boy that wants out or did get out? I mean, good for him. Got out of that terrible franchise from what I hear. So where do you think J.J. Watson?
Well, I want to say real quick too. You mentioned I was confused when you mentioned Desean Watson going to the Cardinals because he was talking to J.J. Watt, not Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was confused when you said that. I was like, I don't think they're going to get rid of Kyler Murray.
Right.
I don't know. I think he's going to go to the Browns. I think J.J. Watson go to the Browns.
Think he's going to the Browns?
Yeah.
Why? Just because they'll pay him, or just because he wants to be by Myles Garrett?
Because they'll pay him. I think it makes sense because he wouldn't get double teamed every time. Myles Garrett would, and I think he'd have a really good season if he stays healthy. They have a good defense too. Like they have some good players in defense, and that help. And then also you get to play his brothers twice a year, and that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, but I think he's going to go to the Browns. That's my guess. That's my pick.
He could only tackle one of them.
I would love for him to go to the Cowboys, but I think he's going to go to the Browns.
Is that like in Texas? Is that like frowned upon to go from the Texans to the Cowboys?
I don't think they're like rivals. They play each other maybe once every 4 years.
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought.
I don't think so.
I think that he's going to go back home to the Packers.
I could see that too. I could definitely see that.
Become a Packer, dude.
I could see that
because they already have Zadarius Smith, who is a stud,
mm-hmm.
and then you put J.J. Watt on the other side. And granted, you're probably not going to get the J.J. Watt that won you Defensive Player of the Year, but you still are going to get good production.
You're going to get 10 sacks and some swats for sure.
Yeah, so being a Vikings fan, I hope he doesn't go to the Packers, but I've kind of seen like some little rumor, like along the rumor mill that he goes there. I think some good landing spots. I think I don't know why Cleveland is one. I'm not sure. Like I've seen that kind of pop up on like
I think
Twitter,
it'd be a good
the
one. I'm
rumors and
telling you.
stuff.
I think it'd be good. That's my pick.
I've seen the Bills. I've always seen Pittsburgh too, just to play with his brother. So
That'd be dope.
I don't really know who would be the front runner because it also depends on how much money he's going to want to play. Like, is he going to take a big pay cut to just be on a contender, or is he going to want to get like one last good, like decent payday before he hits the road? Or I don't know.
I feel like if I was in his spot, I've accomplished some good things in my career. Not like an outrageously great career, but he has a great career. But I would be chasing a ring. I don't think I'd be chasing money at this point because, in my opinion, I could be wrong. Never made millions of dollars in the NFL, but you're freaking J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
You go rent a Super Bowl ring, you can get any endorsement deal that you want.
Right.
He probably can already do that. He's probably makes more money off endorsements than he does on his contract.
Right.
Honestly.
I have 2 pairs of his Reebok shoes. I know he has a Subway sponsor. Just name it. Like, he's probably just like Gronk, like living off of his endorsements and saving his NFL money.
There's tons and tons and tons of people that do that. They just literally just bank their NFL money, or vice versa. They live off their NFL money and bank their endorsement money. It makes sense. I see what you mean.
After you said that about D-Hop, I feel dumb now.
Yeah.
Because
I was confused when you
thinking
said
the same thing too. I was like, why would they get rid of Kyler Murray?
I was confused when you said that. I was like, okay.
I finally looked at the notes like 44 minutes into the episode. I saw that. I put that on there.
Yeah. I also want to say you have something for NBA here. We won't get to it yet, but you tried to say popping off and you said pooping off.
Oh, well, man. Sometimes, you mess up.
You got to go number 2 sometimes.
Like I said, hope he goes to the Cowboys. I think he's going to go to the Browns. The Packers make sense, though. He's from Wisconsin.
I'm saying Packers, yeah.
I hope he goes to the Browns. That's my pick. I think he'd be good with the Browns.
I hope he goes to the Browns just so I don't have to see him twice a year. That'd be great.
Yeah. J.J. Watt had a great career, right? I think we can all say that.
Yeah.
But who didn't have a great career? Johnny Manziel, baby. He's back, though.
Manziel.
Johnny Manziel making the comeback in the what? So what's the deal with that league? Do you know the details on the JJ? I think it's like a fan-driven league or something. The fans can decide like what happens almost, or
I didn't look.
They can decide challenges or something.
Time out. Does Bob Minery have a play in it? Because the team that Johnny Manziel plays for is the Zappers.
Yeah.
And you know how he's always he's always saying like, oh, he's on some Zappers today. Listen here, Peter. But I saw him like live, or not live tweeting, whatever, doing an Instagram live. And you said something about it was Bob Minery versus, what's the guy's name? What the fuck is his name?
Lynch.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Can't believe I just forgot Beast Mode's name. But I want to know if those two own the team that they were playing, or what was going on with that.
I honestly have no idea. I've kind of forgot about the fan controlled league. I just
it's weird.
I scrolled on Twitter, and then it's in an arena league too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's arena football,
and I think it's not even. It's probably like 60.
It's like 60 yards, and it's a skinnier field. It's really weird. And I think it's 8-on-8 or something like that. Or
have you seen how they do? It's either 1 or 2 point conversion. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. You have seen it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it in there.
How they do it? I didn't see that. No.
The way that it works is there's the quarterback and the receiver, and then the defensive cornerback. Okay, and there's no center. So Johnny Manziel literally picked the ball up off of one of those stool things that time your reaction.
Yeah,
picked it up, and then the receiver had to go 1-on-1 with the cornerback. And then when he got open, Johnny Manziel threw it to him.
He had to throw it.
So I guess that obviously you can't run it in because you literally just pick it up and run. So
it's literally just a 1-on-1.
Yeah, it's like a 1-on-1 to see who wins the matchup. I
feel like it's all slant routes. I would just do slant route. I feel like that's your best chance of getting open.
You are literally at a disadvantage 1-on-1 because corner, and you all said on the podcast before, is the hardest position. Is one of the hardest positions to play in football.
Right.
When you're on an island by yourself in a 1-on-1, it literally just takes one step to get open. So
right, especially Griff said, you take 2 steps to the pylon and then cut back real quick, and you're wide open.
You pretty much have to be able to guess the route that they're going to run.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I don't know either. Johnny Manziel's back though.
He is back.
Once upon a time, Jerry Jones passed up on him. Had to be talked out of drafting Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, you told that on the pod.
I cannot believe this guy, this dumbass Jerry Jones passed on Johnny Manziel.
Billionaire.
To draft a guy named Zach Martin.
Hell yeah.
Who all he's done has been all pro 3 times at offensive guard.
So dumb. So dumb. Do you think Johnny Manziel will ever make it back?
Nope.
Nope.
Do you think it's his playing ability, or do you think that it's just him taking too many Ripper Magoos?
Both.
Both.
I think it's his playing ability. I think he proved he wasn't there that good in the NFL, right? And then it's just the off-field stuff. I don't think there's a chance he gets back in the NFL.
All right, JT, we brought you on the pod for 2 reasons. 1, because you're a longtime listener. And
Appreciate
2,
it.
because we need to hear your awful take on the top 5 current quarterbacks in the NFL.
So my awful take. So this is going into the 2021 season, correct?
Correct.
So here's my top 5.
Pull that mic to your mouth.
Here's my top 5. So my top 5, I'm going to start out at – you want me to start out at 5 or 1?
Let's start at 5. Yeah.
Start at 5. So I have 2 people here.
And this is in order, correct? So
Yes, this is from 5 all the way up to 1.
Got it.
So I have 2 people here just because
Got to pick one.
I pick one.
Got to pick one.
All right, then I'll pick one. I'll pick
All
one
right.
of them. So I'm gonna start out number 5, Desean Watson. The other person that I was considering at 5 was Josh Allen, and the only reason that I didn't put him above Desean Watson was because this was Josh Allen's first really really good year. So he has a chance obviously to slide in my top 5 if he repeats his success, and then if Desean Watson has a down year. But
Is this Deshaun Watson with or without the Texans?
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun doesn't matter where he goes.
This is on quarterback ability. I think
yeah.
it's just to go off just quarterback ability.
I think he's an incredible talent. I hope he goes to a competent organization because I think that he'll bring success to where he goes. So hope he's my top. He's my number 5 right there. I know the Texans were pretty bad this year, but I watched a few of their games, and this man was literally the only reason they were in the games. I remember one game specifically I watched. They were playing the Colts. He was backed up in his own territory and had to go all the way down the field and score. I think he had one timeout. Threw the game-winning touchdown pass. Receiver hit him in the hands. All he had to do was just hold on to the ball, fall into the end zone. Receiver catches it, goes for the tuck, takes one step, ball gets punched out to fumble in the end zone, game over. And I'm like, God, that sucks. Damn. And then his team gives up 29, 30 points a game. So I mean, it's
what shitty team this year beat the Texans?
Who?
The Who Dey? Who Dey?
The Bungholes.
It did, yeah.
All right, who else you got?
So then go number 4. Mr. Unlimited.
Why is he in your top 5? Why?
Mr. Unlimited. He's my number 3, so you got him a little lower than I do. Zach has him at 12 probably. So.
No,
He probably has 29.
He's in my top 10.
Probably has him 29.
Who's better than Russell Wilson? Let me think.
He's in my top
Tom
10.
Savage. He's better.
Dude, Ryan Fitzpatrick is better.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brock Osweiler. He's pretty good.
Listen, he's in my top 10.
Ryan Finley beat the Steelers.
I mean,
Brandon Allen's dual threat, so he's
what
better.
else do you need? What else do you need? Go ahead. Russell Wilson also threw his whole offensive line underneath the bus.
Okay, he's still a really good quarterback.
What a shitty guy.
Aaron Rodgers has thrown tons of people under the bus before.
Yeah, but
Go ahead, JT.
has Russell Wilson ever won an MVP or
ahead,
even had
JT.
an MVP vote?
Same amount of Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers, though. More
Doesn't matter.
appearances than Aaron Rodgers, actually.
Well, that doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers
Go ahead,
literally has a
JT. This
better
is JT's spot. This is
conversion
JT's
rate
spot.
than
Let's let
Russell
JT
Wilson
go.
does.
This is JT's spot.
All right, let's go. Why is he number 4?
So obviously, I'm a big Russell Wilson homer guy. Russell Wilson guy.
I
think his situation or his current situation is similar to Deshaun Watson, where I feel he is the only reason their team is relevant.
Yep.
I feel like he's the only reason their offense has any sort of spark. Granted,
the Legion of Boom.
That's been
offense.
Dude, that's
I said
8 years
offense has
ago.
spark.
Okay, but that's
8 years ago.
That's who made Russell Wilson's name.
But he's still
go
making
ahead.
his name right now outside
ahead.
of Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Granted,
How many Super Bowls has he been to
It's a
since
bad take,
the
Zach.
Legion of Boom?
I don't care what you said. It's a bad take.
How many
let
MVP
JT talk.
votes?
Let JT talk.
All right, I'm sorry.
We brought him on the pod so he could give us top 5.
Just a little heated right now.
I mean, you can't be heated by it. Once you told me hey JT, put your top 5 QBs. I'm I already know one is going to piss you off, and we're going to spend too much time talking about it, which is fine. But he is literally the only reason the Seahawks are still relevant. Because let's just say after Legion of Boom, he went somewhere else. I don't think they'd be very good.
No.
I think if you take Russell Wilson off this current Seahawks team, they would not be very good at all.
He had the worst defense in the NFL for most of the season.
And,
He had to score 40 points for them to win.
yeah.
In the first half of the season. They started playing better at the end of the year. Coincidentally, he fell off a little bit. I've agreed with that.
Yeah, and I've pointed out too,
But he didn't play bad. It wasn't like he was a bottom tier quarterback in those games.
But he had DK Metcalf, Chris Carson, Lockett,
Okay,
Like,
so
he had
Carson
weapons
for
around him.
He
10
had
games.
a banged up Chris Carson.
For most of the year.
That's more that's more than 50%.
He played hurt though. Like he was not the same person. I am in fantasy and it pissed me off because he
I had
he
him
was
too.
good.
Chris
Yeah.
Carson pissed me off in
Yeah,
fantasy.
he got hurt all
But
the time.
when he was in, he was a stud.
Yeah,
but
I agree with that.
He's like made of glass.
The offensive line wasn't very good. It was
No,
like
they were
similar
not
to
very
Carson
good.
Wentz. He was
All
running
right.
for his life.
All right,
And
keep
then-
going. We're talking about Russell Wilson here.
I mean, what
Yeah,
is
that's
there
what
more to say? Like, I
that's
mean,
what we're doing. He's gonna be awesome.
I think he's a very, very good quarterback. I think he's elite. I know you'll disagree on that and just
I
say he's
agree.
good. I think he's a great quarterback. I think if you put him on any of the other contenders, he would have equal, if not better, success. So I just think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's a system one where if he goes to or not a system, but I just think he's a great quarterback.
He's not a system quarterback.
Yeah, he's not a system quarterback.
I think he is a system quarterback. Why would you throw the ball at the 1 yard line? Like, why would you not check out of a better into a better play?
I don't know. He probably trusted Pete Carroll, whoever the OC was at the time, to make that call. I mean, you can be critical of that, but if he throws a touchdown, you
Company
call it a
guy.
great call.
You're also
Company
talking
guy.
about when he was like year 3, year 4. Like this is like year
Company
8
guy.
for Russell Wilson. He's better now. He's a better player than he was when he actually won a Super Bowl. His team's worse though.
Plus, I
think we've proven that.
I'm going to touch on that Super Bowl play for a second here. So, yes, in hindsight, they should not have thrown the ball. It is easy to criticize them for throwing the ball on the 1 yard line. But if you want to look at the advanced stats, because I know Zach is a big stats guy,
Love stats.
Marshawn Lynch from the 1 yard line that year did not have a great success rate. I was watching this documentary. They're talking about the Patriots Seahawks, like all the preparation going to that week. So that play they were running, Malcolm Butler was getting torched on it all year. Because what it was is it's almost like a pick. You have one receiver going in to jumble up the two corners right there. So then Malcolm Butler has to make an insane play, either deflecting the ball or picking it off to just stop that play. So if you go back and watch it, was it Ricardo Lockett? Was that the one he threw to?
Yeah.
So he was open, but since Malcolm Butler made such an incredible play on the ball, he literally just blew the play up and caught it simultaneously. So I don't think it was a bad throw. I don't think it was necessarily a
He was
bad
thrown
call
to a
either.
spot. I think he just made a great play.
That's what you do. Like when you're in the red zone and you're throwing slants, you're really just you have very little time to read it. So what you see is, like I said, you have one wide receiver going out this way to jumble up this mess right here. And then he's going to go underneath it. And as soon as Russell Wilson sees Ricardo Lockett playing his right foot in the ground,
Just throwing it.
he's going to throw it to that spot. If Ricardo Lockett short arms at alligators or whatever, then that's where that crazy play comes in. Malcolm Butler just read the play well because he probably knew, in the back of his mind, they're going to run this play. Mm-hmm. He just made an insane play on the ball.
If you want to look at it again too, you want to talk about a game of inches. That's really what the NFL is if he makes it a little bit earlier, goes a little bit earlier, it's probably pass interference because he knocked Ricardo Lockett over, but he made the play on the ball first, and it was a legal play, and it was an insane play he made.
Yeah.
If he goes a little bit earlier before the ball gets there and just knocks over Lockett, it's probably pass interference. They probably get first down with 20 seconds left or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy. I mean, it was an insane play. I think we should probably move on. Probably the third pick. For your third spot, what I do want to say before that, there's a reason that Aaron Rodgers has only been to one Super Bowl. He lost back-to-back NFC Championship games to Russell Wilson. So just want to throw that out there too. Zach never talks about that, but anyway, we'll go to number 3 on the list. JT, it's your choice. Who's your
So
number 3
since
quarterback?
Apple fucked me over, I
Who's
can't
your
look it up. But how many
number 3
NFC
quarterback?
championships has Aaron Rodgers been to, and how many has Russell Wilson been to?
Well, as far as I know, Aaron Rodgers one for 5, 6.
But how many has he? How many has he been to?
How many has he been to? That's just one for 5 probably. I'm not sure.
And how many
has
has Russell Wilson been to?
let me think. We've been to at least 2. I don't know if he's been to anyone.
Okay,
past
so
that. He
with
might have
a
been.
shitty offense that the Green Bay always has, Aaron Rodgers is still there.
I wouldn't say they have a shit.
That's what talking heads say.
They've got a top 3 receiver in the league, and they've always had really good receivers.
just saying.
I'll put it this way: they never had depth where they're going to have 7 great receivers or a bunch of really good receivers. But they've always had a really good receiver, at least one, right? Even back when Greg Jennings that was really, really good. And their offensive line's always been really good too.
They have a great offensive line.
Their defense is what screws them over.
But
Their defense has screwed them over more than anything.
What was the biggest argument with the Packers taking Jordan Love this year? Was that they need help
a receiver,
on
for
their
sure.
receiving core. Okay,
agree.
so with a shitty offense,
They don't have a shitty offense.
But that is literally everything.
Okay, go to number 3 because he's saying the Packers have a shitty offense, and it's
That's not what I'm saying. That's what talking heads are saying. That's what Instagram says.
they don't have a shitty offense.
And so I'm just using their narrative against you. Is how
It's
do you
not
make
right.
it? How do you make
It's
it to
not right, Zach.
5?
They do not have a shitty offense.
How do you make it to 5 NFC
You think he's had it's just him carrying the whole team on his back every single year because it's not.
I think that it's mostly Aaron Rodgers. That's why I find it so hard to say that Russell Wilson is elite, because you can put a bunch of guys around him, and Aaron Rodgers is still going to outperform. Go ahead.
We'll go ahead and move on to number 3. Number 3, coming off the Super Bowl win, I'm going to jump Brady to 3.
Number 3?
I don't know if it's really necessarily a hot take. I think they're going to get a good amount of their offense back. Even if they lose Chris Godwin, which I don't think they will, because I think they're going to want to retain him. Even if they lose him, I think they're going to get AB back. And
is Gronk coming back?
Yeah,
probably. I mean, I think they're literally just going to. I think they're literally just going to run it back.
Brady said so. They asked about him and Gronk. He said we'll be back.
Okay. I think they're going to run it back, and now he's going to get a full actual offseason with him, because I know I think Lawhorn had touched on it a few weeks ago, kind of in the middle of the playoffs, where it took their offense a little bit to pick up to where we got to see their final product, and I think that's just where COVID affected a lot of teams getting together. Granted, it affected everyone, but I know with Tom Brady and how meticulous he is and how he likes to work on relationships and how he likes to work on timing and stuff, I just think it took him a little bit longer. But now you get a full year back, and they might be able to add some more pieces too. So I'm going to jump him up to 3. Could be a hot take, could slide down, could stay there, but I don't know. I feel like you have to put Brady in your top 5 somewhere, just because he's 43 years old, coming off Super Bowl win, played well in the Super Bowl.
I feel you. I don't have him in my top 5. Mm-hmm. I still think he's really, really good, though. I think he probably proved that. He's still insanely good. I think there's guys who have more talent than him right now, but I can't. I mean, I have no room to talk about doubting him. Right? He's literally the greatest player of all time. It's
what more is there to say?
At 43 years old, I don't think he's talent wise top 5 in the NFL, but I think he's top 7 for sure.
Still winning Super Bowls.
He is. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I bet against him, and I feel like an idiot for it.
Going
dumbass.
To our poll from last week, I still think that he could pull out 10. I'm not saying
he's going to win 3 in a row.
I'm not saying it's highly likely, but I think that there's a chance.
So
but
he has to win 3 in a row.
Most of our viewers think that he's going to win. Was he at now 7?
Yeah.
So yes. 8. That's what I can see. That's what the highest was. That he's going to win one more.
I mean, I think he's going to play 2 to 3 more seasons. I mean, depending on next year. If they just have a bad year next year and he has a bad year, I think he'll retire. But I don't think they will. I think they're going to make the playoffs again. I think they're going to be a contender again. I think he'll play 2 to 3 more seasons, right? The only way he goes to that 10th one is literally if they win the next 2 Super Bowls.
There's a chance.
I think the next Super Bowl he loses, or the next time he doesn't do as well to get to the Super Bowl, I think he's going to retire. I mean, he would literally play till he's 46 and win 3 in a row. I just don't think that'll happen. Yeah. I think the odds of that happening are very slim. I think if you bet on it, you'd be a rich man if it happened.
All right, rattle off 2 and 1.
All right, so 2, we got standard. Aaron Rodgers and then Mahomes number 1. I mean,
I think that's we
don't have to go into depth on those 2, but
I think we all 3 have the same top 2, right?
Yeah,
Mahomes and Rodgers.
Yeah,
Mahomes 1, Rodgers 2.
Yep.
Are you brave enough to put Rodgers number 1?
No, I wouldn't put Rodgers number 1. I mean,
Mahomes 1, Rodgers 2.
Mahomes,
That's pretty accurate.
I think that even though, statistically he played bad in the Super Bowl, I think some of the plays, highlight plays he did make, were outrageous.
Yeah. You know why he had to make those plays though?
What's that?
He had no fucking offensive line, just like Russell Wilson. So we got JT's top 5. The say-all, end-all, be-all top 5. Every single one of them is elite. I think we can all agree on that. So
Patrick
we'll move
Mahomes
on to the next
has
one.
Travis
so I think
Kelce.
We'll go ahead and move on to the next topic
See,
now.
you're not even going to let me talk. See, this is I don't even know why this guy's on my fucking podcast.
We got to talk about some NBA.
Yeah, let's talk about the shitty NBA.
Why do you always say that?
Because I hate the NBA, but I feel like we got to put it in there.
Guess who lost last night?
The Nuggets?
Yeah. 2 nights ago? Was it 2 nights ago?
Yeah, I know they did.
They lost to the Celtics.
Yeah, they lost to the Celtics. Yeah. And I was really hoping that they'd fucking win so I could get that shit.
I was sitting there waiting. I was looking at the score. I was like, God, if the freaking Nuggets lose and I have to go on this pod tomorrow and listen to Zach talk about the Nuggets beating the Celtics, I'll off myself. But they got the dub, though, baby.
All right, JT, any news pooping off? Zach put pooping off on the...
Draymond was in the news talking about the owners. Did you see that quote?
Yeah.
You sent it to us, but what was the quote?
I don't know if I want to read the full. So I have the full unedited quote because I didn't want to find
Just
an edited quote.
Paraphrase it. What did he say?
So he said, "I would like to talk about something that's really bothered me, and that's the treatment of players in this league. To watch Andre Drummond before the game sit on the sideline, then go back and come out in street clothes because the team is going to trade him. Because when James Harden asked for a trade and essentially dogged it, I don't think anyone is going to fight that James was dogging in his last days in Houston, but he was castrated for wanting to go to a different team. Everybody assured that man, and yet a team can come out and say, oh, we want to trade a guy, and then that guy's to go sit. And if he doesn't stay professional, then he's a cancer. He's not good in someone's locker room, and he's the issue."
I agree.
Yeah, no,
I agree with him.
Yeah, like he like said in his post game press conference, so he'll probably get fined. I don't know if he'll get fined for it, but I think he did. He pretty much just called out the owners, saying like it's BS how, you want these guys to act professional, but they're like, hey, we're gonna trade you, but you're not gonna play tonight.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't know, that didn't really sit right with me, and like I can see both sides of it, like, cause it's like his contract, he is the employee of that team, and whatever they say he has to like go along with. But I don't know, I think so. Pretty much, it's kind of like fill you in, Zach. So Andre Drummond's on the trade block essentially because the deadline is coming up next month, and they're like, "Hey, Andre, we're going to try and trade you, but we don't want to risk you getting hurt and anything. So we're just going to have you just come to the games, chill, you're not playing."
Yeah.
Does he still get a game check?
Yeah,
I'm sure he still gets paid.
I think the way it works for the NBA is that you get a game check is if they're sitting you. If you're just sitting out, right, then you're not going to get a game check for it. But I think it's because they're saying they're benching him. Technically, they could probably put him in the game if they wanted to. Well, I guess he's in street clothes, probably not. But I think he for sure definitely gets a game check. I think it's just BS though. I can understand from the aspect of them not wanting to get hurt if they're just we're going to trade him. But at the same time, why do you have to have him be there then? Why would you want to be there if you're told, hey, you're not going to play tonight?
It just shows you're not valuable to the team.
You're never going to play for us again. That's basically what you're never going to play for us again, but you have to come to the game and sit there and watch the whole thing. Why would you even have any investment in that team anymore? I don't give a shit. I love all these guys I play with, but they're benching me because they're going to trade me.
Yeah.
Why can't I just sit at home and just and do my own thing and start actually training and getting ready for the next what's the point of even going to practice at that point if you're never going to play? You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's stupid.
And plus, what if, how awkward would it be if they can't get
the trade
a
done.
buyer? Yeah, so then they have to buy him out because why would he want to play if they were like, oh, yeah, we tried to trade you. We couldn't trade you, but we still want you to play for us. It's like, dude, screw you. You literally just said 2 days ago you didn't want me. So, and plus, I think it just looks, I think it's just a bad look to kind of handle a situation like that because something similar happened to Harrison Barnes, and he touched on it too. And he said, I'll just kind of continue what Draymond said. He said, we've seen situations of Harrison Barnes getting pulled off of the bench, DeMarcus Cousins finding out they got traded in an interview after the All-Star game. We continue to let this happen, but I get fined for stating my opinion on what I thought should happen with another player. But teams can come out and continue to say, oh, we're trading guys, we're not playing you, and yet we're to stay professional. And what he was referring to was he talking about was it AD out of NOLA? Was that what yeah, so Draymond came out before he got traded, Anthony Davis got traded to the Lakers. He was like, man, we got to get Anthony Davis out of New Orleans. And the league saw that as tampering because they were like, oh, the Warriors are trying to get Anthony Davis. So and Draymond got fined for that comment. And he's like, but then these owners can come out and just say, oh, yeah, we're going to trade you, Andre. And he's like, oh, but you got to stay professional about it. So
I don't know. I think it's just a personal opinion. That's why I don't like the NBA as much. And I feel like the MLB is getting to that point to where there's so much political bullshit between the players and the owners. It's I don't know. I feel like it kind of takes away from the game. I mean, do you agree with that? I feel like that's shitty for a player to be fined because of what they said, but an owner can say that.
This league, man.
Yeah,
this league.
The NBA's got a lot of drama, man.
Yeah, NBA is definitely the most dramatic league. I think the NFL is actually catch up in drama, but I feel like as much shit as the NFL gets and the owners get, Goodell gets and everything. I could be wrong, but I feel like the NFL is players have better relationships with the owners and coaching staffs than the MLB or the NBA does. I feel like there's some owners in the NBA and there's probably some owners in all sports, right, that are really really good, and there's probably some real stinkers. Mm-hmm. I think the MLB probably has the worst owners, just my opinion, because they cry poor and they're worth billions, like the single person's worth billions. But I feel like the NBA, I feel like there's some issues from the front office and the players, and then there's a chance. I think it's the NBA. They said I think there's a chance for a strike next year, right, or 2 years from now. I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
It's MLB or NBA, but I thought it was NBA. I thought there was a chance that there might be a strike because the CBA is up again or something like that.
Yeah, that's all.
No, I'm thinking MLB. I'm thinking MLB.
So that's all based on.
No, the MLB just got theirs done, didn't they?
No, there's next year. It's up. It's actually up. They have to sign a new one because that's when they're thinking there might be a chance of 154 games with that with
I thought that they negotiated it, or maybe it was just the COVID CBA.
So yeah, they did, but I think they put it off a year.
Oh, okay.
So I think they don't have to do it till next year.
Got it.
Because that was the whole thing when they were trying to negotiate the 154 games, and they said, no, screw that. You're not going to prorate our contracts.
Right.
So, I don't know. Oh, it pisses me off, man. The owners cry poor. like in all sports, mainly MLB, they cry poor. Like, dude, you're worth like $2 billion on your own. Like, just by yourself, you're worth $2 billion, and your team's worth like $1 billion or $2 billion on its own. Like,
So this might be like,
you're not going to lose money on that.
follow me here. Follow me on this take. So we just talked about, college players not being able to get paid. But if, like they can't even go work at a grocery store and bag groceries. Why is it okay for somebody who's worth billions of dollars to own, for instance, the Cincinnati Reds? Like, he has his own company outside of the Reds. Like, obviously that's probably how he made his money to buy the Reds. I'm not too sure. But, like, why is that okay for the MLB to be like, yeah, you guys can have this business, but you can also have, like, other businesses that produce millions of dollars? Like, yeah, I don't know, you see the connection there? Is like,
yeah, I mean, I don't think that really matters as much. I think with college thing, it's literally the recruiting, because high school players can, if they're really good, the top tier high school players can go anywhere they want to play, right? Like, who's the one dude? Mikey, the college high school basketball, Mikey Davis, is his name, or Mikey?
You're talking about Mikey Williams?
Mikey Williams, sorry.
Yeah.
So he's like I think probably the number one player in his class. I think he might just go to the G League, they're thinking, or something. I'm not sure where he's going to go to college at.
No, not him. He's I think he's thinking about going to HBCU.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
okay.
Because HBCUs don't have a whole lot of.
Yeah.
It's been a while since there's been like some guys that decide to go to
Yeah.
an HBCU over like a blue blood. So
Yeah.
I think he's wanting to create like a new wave essentially.
That's what it is. Because there's another guy. The other guy did it too. It was like Maker or something like that did it too.
Yeah, he went to Howard. Yep.
So, what I'm getting at with you, Zach, is that Mikey Williams guy is the number one player in the country, if not probably number 2 or 3, but he's top 3 in the country. He could go play for any college he wanted to, right? The ones that are recruiting him are probably all the blue buds. We have HBCUs in there because he's wanting to start a difference. And then probably teams close to his hometown that think they have a shot at him, right? Those are probably the ones that usually go for recruiting. If he came out, say he's from California, I don't know where he's from. Say he's from California.
He's from California.
Okay, so he's from California. That was a good guess. So say he just says, I want to play at Indiana, right? Or I want to play at Syracuse, or I want to play at SMU, right? What are they going to do? They're going to go recruit him, right? So he can go pick to play wherever he wants. So if he has an opportunity to go to a school where he can make money on the side, that's why it's illegal. That's why they're not allowed to do that, because I can pick this school and just go there, and I'll be able to make money on my likeness there and get a job, right? With the MLB, NFL, you have to actually draft a player and sign the contract. So at that point, they're professionals, and the money on the side thing doesn't even really matter. You know what I mean? Especially with the owners, too. Like it doesn't really matter. But when you're in college, right, you can pick to go wherever you go if you're that good of a player. Like there could be a team like, I'm a Purdue fan. There's zero chance that Purdue gets Mikey Williams to join their team, get a scholarship there, right? If he all of a sudden said, hey, I want to play for Matt Painter at Purdue, what do you think the first thing Matt Painter's going to do? Going to call him up, get recruiters out there, and go to his place, right? They probably didn't even try and recruit the guy because they said there's no chance we're going to get him. But if Matt Painter, for some reason, is paying players under the table, right, or has a way to get him millions of dollars under the table with no one knowing about it, chance he might go there then. And that's the reason that the whole payment thing's going on.
I don't know. I see what you're saying. I guess I didn't explain my take very well. And I think it's a bad take, so we're just going to leave it at that.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, we'll just move on. I don't know. I can't make the connection. Like, I got it in my head, but I can't make the connection. I don't think the owners
having an outside business is going to affect their MLB business or their NBA business at all. It's not going to attract players just because Castellini has his own grocery business or whatever he does with all the food he has, right? For the Reds. He's not going to attract Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is going to be like, man, if I go play for Castellini and the Reds, he's got billions of dollars from his outside company, right?
But let's say, like, I don't know, like, this probably will never happen, but, like, let's say whoever owns Gatorade owns a professional sports team. Like,
yeah.
Do you think that could be like, hey, man, I own Gatorade, come play for my team if you're a free agent, but we'll also give you a pretty sweet Gatorade endorsement?
Yeah, I could see that being, like, a tampering thing almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit. NBA has a lot of tampering problems, but that's mainly for players. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that'll ever happen, like something specific like that.
Yeah.
I could see that being an issue. But most of the owners, it's their regular life is separate from their sports life, their sports team.
But then I guess you get into that argument is like, who are you going to say can and can't own a MLB team or any professional sports team? So I don't know.
Professional, I don't think we have to worry about it.
Yeah, we'll move on. I thought it was a good take in my head, but once it came out, I didn't like it.
Who's your MVP right now, JT?
This is your all's podcast now. I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
It's tough because I think Embiid is having
LeBron
an incredible year.
I mean,
LeBron's up there.
LeBron?
Yeah, I think LeBron is up there.
It has to be LeBron.
It's LeBron.
It's LeBron.
It's LeBron. He's the best player of all time. It's LeBron. Dude, LeBron could quit the NBA right now, go be a safety, and probably be the best safety in the NFL. LeBron could probably go fight prime Mike Tyson and beat him. Like he's just built different.
LeBron needs to quit the NBA, become a YouTuber, and just call everybody out. Be like, you know what? I'll line up at corner versus DeAndre Hopkins.
The Paul brothers.
I think LeBron's probably one of the few people in the world that could he might even have a YouTube channel. Who knows? But who could literally just create a YouTube channel tomorrow and probably have 1 million subscribers in like a
Probably.
day.
Oh, easy.
Yeah,
That's what pisses me off because they don't know the grind of starting from nothing.
You don't think LeBron knows the grind of starting from nothing?
Akron,
Ohio.
No,
They don't know his dad.
It was a joke.
His mom had to work 4 jobs.
It was a joke. Chill. I know he grinded, bro.
I think it's between Embiid, LeBron, Jokic, and I hate to say it, but Giannis is having a really good season. I don't think he'll win it again because I don't think it's going to give him
give someone
3 years in a row. But he's having an insane season again.
Time out. I respect LeBron. I retract my statement.
He's the GOAT, bro.
I acknowledge that he had a grind in his life at some point. I think Curry should also get thrown there too because
31 points a game.
Dude, he has been he started the season kind of iffy, and everyone was like, "Wow, can Steph Curry carry a team?" But they kind of like left out the part where he actually has been in the playoffs before. They were really good, but that's kind of how NBA Twitter works. But he's cooking right now. Like I don't know if you've seen any of the Warriors games, but he's like straight on fire. Yeah. I think the Warriors are now a 7 or 8 seed. So, I mean, I think he should get consideration. Will he win it? Probably not. Because the way like the MVP goes is it's so media narrative driven. Because you know Jokic is almost averaging a triple double, and if you want to like go, the last MVP that won triple double was Russell Westbrook when he took the 7 seed Thunder to the playoffs. But then when he averaged triple double next year, they were like, oh well, no, that was like stat padding. So like we're gonna prioritize somewhere else. So I think right now I'm still gonna stick with Embiid because I think he has been
balling, dude.
I think he's been balling all year. The Sixers have the second best record behind the Jazz, and the Jazz have been on a tear lately. So I guess the order right now would be Embiid, LeBron, Jokic, Curry, and then I don't really doesn't matter who the fifth is.
One thing I want to point out too, this kind of sucks. I hope it's not this way, but so LeBron and the Lakers have to play the Nets in like 2 days. I think maybe a day after this podcast airs. I think is when they play. Mm-hmm. Friday. I think it's Friday night basketball they play.
Probably
Friday or Saturday.
Usually the big games are going to be like on Friday on the ESPN.
So they got to play, and there's a chance that Anthony Davis doesn't play. More likely, Anthony Davis doesn't play.
No, he's already out 2 or 3 weeks because of his Achilles strain.
Anthony Davis isn't going to play, and there's a chance that KD and Kyrie don't play. I think they probably will. I think they'll be fine because they're more so day-to-day stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's a chance that none of them play, so it's literally just LeBron versus James Harden. And like, not to say that would be bad, but it does suck to see that we can't see full strength Lakers versus full strength. Because even if Kyrie and them play, I think they're gonna like still be a little like hurt. I don't want to say that because like I'll say that and Kyrie and KD will score like 40 points. I'll be like, okay, they weren't hurt at all. But
have we seen a fully healthy Knicks team or Nets?
I think so. I mean, they've all 3 played together.
Have they?
Yeah.
They have like they probably have the best offensive rating, but they have the worst defensive rating.
Their defense is absolutely terrible.
To put in perspective, they're probably averaging, I don't know the exact number. I'll just like go kind of like based on the past 10 games. They're putting up like 120, 130, which is absolutely like absurd in basketball. But they're allowing like 115, 120 games. Like all their games are barn burners. They pretty much depleted all their depth to get James Harden, and that's where, you know, their lack of defense is making all these games close. So I think it'll be interesting. I really hope we get to see a fully Lakers team versus a full Nets team because that could be a potential finals.
East versus the West.
Could be.
Yeah, could be.
Do you think the Jazz had a chance to make the finals? Or do you think they're like some of the other teams you've seen in the past? Like what was the Miami Heat year when LeBron first year I think it was? Like everyone was saying, oh, the Bulls are better. The Bulls are the 1 seed, and then they just, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's in the past, I feel like there's 1 seeds that you don't feel like are the real 1 seed, right? Yeah.
Kind of like the Hawks.
Yeah, like, the Hawks. Yeah, that's a great example, actually. Yep. You're right. So I feel like there's seasons in the NBA where like LeBron maybe or even KD or one of them will get like the 2 seed, right?
Yeah.
And the 1 seed theoretically should be the favorite, right? They have 2-3 more wins and they are the best team in the year technically. Mm-hmm. And then all the pundits and everyone's like, oh, LeBron's gonna make the finals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm curious if come finals time, so they have the 1, so the Lakers have the 2. Do you think they could do it? Think they could pull it off and beat the Lakers? I think they could.
And you could.
I don't think they will,
I'm
but I
not
think
gonna
they
rule
could.
them out. I don't think they will. I mean, the Jazz are playing very, very well right now. They're playing good basketball. I think the reason that they didn't do so well in the bubble is because they were missing. I believe they were missing Bogdanovich, and he was pretty much the secondary scorer behind Mitchell. And so, whenever you lose a player that I think he was averaging like close to 20 a game, I mean that's big production right there. So, I'm actually shocked the Jazz are doing this well. Like I thought they'd be a good team because they usually hover around that 4 or 5 spot in the West, like sometimes 3. But they're playing great basketball right now. So it'll be interesting to see. Not going to roll them out, beating up the Lakers, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard to bet. It's like Brady. Like it's hard to bet against LeBron. Like
you know what?
Longhorn bets against him every day.
Yeah, he didn't fear the Bucks.
He doesn't fear the Bucks.
You know what I miss about that Jazz team though is I can't remember his name. So you have to help me. But the white dude that shoots 3 looks like Toby Flunderson.
Joe Ingles.
Yeah, I miss Joe Ingles talking shit to everybody. Like literally looks like the most like unathletic dude ever. Just starts draining 3-pointers. He's a really good shooter, right?
Oh, this dude looks like a math teacher.
Talking shit to Paul George, talking shit to all these like really good players. Like he just like they would like he would just like make a 3 and just start talking shit. They talk shit back. And he would not back down. Yeah. I was like, I love it.
He's an Aussie.
Yeah, he is. He literally looks like Toby from The Office. Yeah, that's everyone says it's Toby Flunderson. It's so funny.
Well, is that it with NBA talk? We're moving on. Anything else?
I think that's it. I want to say, Celtics, Brad Stevens, stop being a coward. Play Carson Edwards more. Future MVP, future Hall of Famer. Play him more.
JT.
Play him over Jeff
That's what I
Teague.
got to deal with.
Why is Jeff Teague still playing? Can you agree with me? Why is Jeff Teague still getting meaningful minutes? He has not played well.
People that nobody have nobody knows who these people are.
He's a Celtics fan. Me and Meyer are both Celtics fans.
Yeah, but we're talking to the listeners, bro.
I'm talking to JT. Celtics fans will know. My Boston listeners. Why is Jeff Teague still getting minutes? I understand. Fast PP's been hurt. I get it. He's back now.
He's back.
I know, but he's been hurt, and what's his name got to get a lot of minutes.
Sammy Swims, dude, from last week.
No, these are real players that play right now. Come on,
Sammy Joe Balls,
slinging Sammy Ball. What I'm saying is, bench Jeff Teague. Bench Jeff Teague.
All right.
Play Carson Edwards more.
All right, that's it. We're moving on.
MVP.
Nope. Nobody. Literally nobody cares. We're done. We're moving on.
Be right back.
JT, you got any interesting news popping off? Griffin's leaving the studio. Hopefully he doesn't come back.
He's probably pooping or something.
I don't know. I gotta pee.
So looking through the news, just kind of see what was trending. We're gonna pull this article up. So these scientists accidentally found life drilling. They found life 3,000 feet submerged in ice, or submerged under the ice in Antarctica.
Damn.
So let me pull up this article real quick.
So, side note, while you're pulling that up, or do you got it pulled up already? All right, go ahead.
So NBC News reported that scientists find unexpected animal life far beneath Antarctica's floating ice shelves.
Sit down, Griffin.
There we go.
Gosh.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
He's got a who is this?
He needs more minutes. Carson Edwards.
Okay.
Purdue legend.
Literally nobody cares. The only Purdue great to ever come out of Purdue was Drew Brees.
Okay, I disagree.
So geologists were taking sediment cores from the seafloor beneath the giant, I can't pronounce this, Filchner Ron ice shelf on the southern edge of Antarctica's Weddell Sea, and discovered what they believe are types of sponge. And I can probably show you all pictures. But pretty much they found life 3,000 feet submerged in ice in Antarctica. So
damn, that's crazy.
So they accidentally found it.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
What were they drilling for? Just like see how deep the ice was? Does it say?
Said they were more than 150 miles from the open ocean. They bored a hole through 3,000 foot thick ice with a hot water drill. I think they were just drilling into that ice, and then the camera and they just picked up this.
You know what's crazy? Like, I'm not knocking your story because I think it's interesting.
No, yeah.
But we get so excited to find a sponge creature.
Life. I mean, but it's life.
Right, but like, does that say that humans can live 3,000 feet below ice? Is that what that article's saying?
I think it's just saying that we found additional life that's 3,000 feet submerged in ice, and that's, I don't know, just like, I'm don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I just think about
go off on a tangent.
Like the deep sea, dude.
Yeah, you don't even know.
Oh shit, dude!
Like, have you seen that video on? I think it was like circulated on Instagram.
Yeah,
it was talking about like how deep the ocean is. I'm like, there's like literally a point in the ocean where no humans have been, and we have no idea what's down there. Like,
there's no light.
Literally, no light. can't hear it. Like, blows my mind, dude. I don't know.
Like,
it's crazy.
You can put Mount Everest in the Mariana Trench, and it
Keep going.
would keep going.
Keep going.
It's crazy.
This is like space talk, but amplified. Because what do you think is crazier, space or the bottom of the ocean?
Space.
Like, what do you think
I
we
they're
know
both
more
crazy.
about?
What do you think we know more about? The ocean. For sure.
Oh, I think we know way more about space.
No chance. No chance. 100%.
JT, come on, you got to come in here.
There's way more space that we can't even see than there is the ocean that we can't see. There's a chance that because space is ever expanding, right? It's just going, right? There's stuff that's being created like that, like new planets, new matter, things like that. Just keeps creating, keeps going. There is very likely, right? I shouldn't say very likely. There's likely that there's another planet that could be similar to us that could have life that's just been starting, like the same way like Earth was supposed to start with life, where it's like bacteria and stuff like that. That we have no idea that it's even there because it's so many years away, and the amount of time it would take us to reach it. Our great grandkids would be like long dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas the ocean, right? There's a point. I think I feel safe in saying there's a point in human technology where we may be able to create some type of device that can go down and actually explore that, right? That's a lot more achievable than exploring the far off reaches of space that we have no idea that's about.
So I'm going to debunk your theory right now because we literally have telescopes that are just chilling out there in space. And we have telescopes that can go billions of light years away. But we can't even go, 30,000 feet deep into the ocean?
It's a pressure thing, though.
But we can't create something like we can create.
I'm
something
sure they will
that
eventually. That's
can
what I'm
fly
saying.
through space. Like space is literally a vacuum, from what I hear. But we can't create something that can go 30, 40,000 feet deep on our own planet.
Well,
I don't know.
Well,
I find that hard to believe.
I don't think it's the issue of that we can't create something that can.
JT, you'll figure out this mic one day.
I'll figure out the mic one day. I don't think it's like an issue of like us figuring out, being able to go to like the very, very bottom of the seafloor. I think it's like human life being able to go down that far because I'll have to do the research on it, or maybe Griffith look it up while we're talking about it. But I can't remember exactly how far down they went, but it was further than a human could go because like the pressure Griffith was referring to. Because
I thought it was like Challenger Deep or something like that. Like the furthest.
Some along those lines. So like I don't know. Like
This is going to be a great Instagram question tomorrow.
oh yeah, like
all right. Let's put it out there. Which one do you guys think we know more about? Is it space or the ocean? I'm going to say space.
I think the ocean.
I'm gonna go with. I'll probably go with ocean because I think we have a good idea of space, but to Griff's point, like there's some like light years away that we may not ever like get to see. But like as far as sea, I feel like we know more about the sea. But to your point, there is like a lot of stuff in the deep sea that we honestly have like no idea what's down there. So
Right.
I don't know.
I mean,
it'll be interesting to see though.
If we can create, we'll just say some type of satellite that can travel through space, but we're unable to create some
it's a
type
pressure
of
thing,
I don't
though.
know. Hold on. If we're unable to create something that can handle that type of pressure, I feel like we know more about space because we're able to create things to fly through space, but we can't create something to, survey the bottom, very, very bottom of the ocean.
So I thought there's been things that have been on the bottom of the ocean floor before, but they can't like see. It's so dark. I could be wrong. I know man-made was Challenger Deep. That was the furthest ever. It was like something Picard or something like that. And he went super far deep. And what's his name got close to it? Or Challenger Deep maybe was James Cameron. One of them, James Cameron went down there, the guy who directed Titanic, because he wanted to find like the crash of the actual Titanic where it landed, right? And he went down like super far and he was close. But something Picard, his name was like the lowest a man had ever gone in the ocean. That was back in like the 60s. So I can understand where you come from. That is why I haven't gone past that. I heard the guy was also a nut job for doing that, and he like was like bleeding at the nose and all this shit because there was so much pressure,
That there's a big ass electrical cable. I think it goes from like the mainland of Europe to the UK that literally just like sways on the bottom of the ocean with the current,
That's crazy.
and it transfers electricity between the two.
That's crazy, actually.
It's like the Atlantic something. Let me look it up. Go
I'm
ahead.
just telling you, I'm almost 100% positive we know way less about space than we do the ocean. Like, we know how big the ocean is. It's not going to get any bigger as far as like how deep it is in the ground, you know what I mean? Like, we know that the ground's there. We just can't physically see it or can't get to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
We don't know how big space is. It's just ever expanding. There's things in space that we have no idea is there, right? And I think it's on a way bigger scale than the ocean. There's definitely tons of life in the ocean that we don't know about, 100%, but There's a chance there's so many more things in space that we just have no idea that's even there, and that we'll never be able to know until we advance some sort of technology that, like you see in Star Wars. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Like, I don't think that is physically possible. I think humans would die going that fast, going light speed to like jump like light years away. I think like we're like 13.8 or 14 billion light years is how old the universe is, and that's how far away we can see. Or I don't know what it is, but like you're never gonna be able to travel that fast. There's no way we're able to see parts of space.
Listen to this. So I'm gonna hit on your space thing in a minute, but the transatlantic telegraph cable is underseas, and listen to when they started this in 1854.
It's pretty crazy.
Like they were doing that shit back then. Jesus.
Yeah, but I don't think they were taking it down to the bottom of the ocean. I think they just kind of dropped it, like let it sink to the bottom of the ocean.
I don't know. Like,
you know what I'm
Put it on
saying?
a fishing pole.
Do you think that they had boats capable to like carry that mass of a wire and just like?
I think they had
drop
barges
it?
back then. Probably they're probably like real early like steamboats. But yeah, I don't know. That is pretty crazy to think about though that they did that. I don't know.
But with your space thing, I was listening to Elon Musk on Joe Rogan's most recent interview, and he said that they are able to get to Mars in 6 months. Like they figured it out, and like what he wants to do is create a civilization on Mars, and which is just blows my mind. But he says the problem with it is that the way that Earth and Mars line up is like our year is ×2 for Mars. So when the planets would align perfectly, you have to wait another 2 years to come back. If not, the way that the moon will be, you'll run like straight into the moon. So they just can't get enough material there for somebody to like.
They have to wait
leave.
2 years there.
Yeah, like they would have to leave in 6 months, chill there for 2 years just to come back. And like, how are you gonna get?
Why can't they launch like? I'm sure there's an obvious reason for this. I don't know, but why can't they launch something into space, then launch the very next day? Like 4 straight days, do launches full of stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean, you just gotta think about like the success rate of a rocket. Like, it's not close to 100%. I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, you always see shit blowing up, but I feel like the movie Apollo 13, like, remember they had that problem and they literally like slingshotted around the moon to come back? Like, why couldn't you just like chill with the moon for a little while and then like slingshot back out into space and go to Mars?
There's probably some reason that we just have or no, that we have no idea about.
Equation that's going way over.
There's some physicists that would listen to this in like 10 years, and be like, "Those fucking idiots."
No,
this is why you can't do that.
It's easy. It's what is it? E equals MC squared.
Yeah. Do you know what that means?
Kind of.
Go ahead, go explain it.
Explain it. Yeah. It's very famous what it's called.
It is very famous.
3 words.
Oh, I don't know what it's called.
No, it's the theory of relativity.
Okay. I was going to say, doesn't it have something to do with like motion?
Well, do you know who created it? Came up with it?
Was it Albert? Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah, it's the theory of relativity.
Yeah. I really couldn't tell you like if I ever used it. I'm sure my calculator has used it before.
I mean, yeah, I don't know shit about it. Just that Einstein created it, and it's something like gravity versus like matter or something like that. I don't know. I think space is super interesting though. I really hope I think Elon will do it. I think we'll get to the Mars at some point. If he doesn't, some of his ancestors, his kid will. Fucking
for real.
XAE12 or whatever. He named his kid or tried to name his kid.
You know that him and Jeff Bezos are like ever changing every day on who's the richest man in the world?
Yeah.
Like depending on what the stock of Amazon or Tesla does.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like,
I don't even know what I would do with that much money.
Try and get the fucking Mars.
Have you ever heard the story? Elon Musk doesn't have money. Like he has money, but it's like so like it's tied up and shit that he borrows money from people to like pay his bills and shit.
That's nuts.
I mean, I'm sure that that's probably not the case now, but like when he was like early, like because he started PayPal. I don't know if you knew that, and then he sold that. But somebody was like giving him a bunch of shit for being so rich, and he said, you know what, I'm just gonna sell all my shit and like go rent a house, and so that's what he did. Dang. Like all of his famous paintings and houses and shit like that, and yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to have that much money?
I think all my problems would be solved.
I think him and Jeff need to put down the beef, work together, and get to Mars quicker.
Put down the beef.
Like it's $400 billion right there.
Yeah, but they're both on the same mission. Like they're both like Jeff Bezos has his own space exploration company.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what is it? The United States and Russia back in the day, like the first one to Mars.
Someone's got to be one. And
for real.
I got a news story I want to talk about real quick. It won't take as long, but Larry King. Did you guys see Larry King died? Mm-hmm. So Larry King died, famous reporter in New York City and stuff like that. Old. Yeah. So Larry King died. Did you guys see the story?
Yeah.
Did you see the story?
No.
So on his deathbed, basically, like he changed the will from his ex-wife. and cut her out of the will before he died.
Nice.
So he's had 8 wives.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 8 wives. And his most recent one, basically, they were together the longest, right? And I think he had 2 kids with her. And they got divorced in 2010. They filed for it, but then they reconciled. And I think they got divorced in 2019 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Before he died, he wrote her out of his will. And for the sole reason is that for the last 5-6 years of their marriage, she was banging their kid's baseball coach.
Nice.
And he wrote it on a napkin. This is my last will and testament. This supersedes all my old last will and testaments. I want 100% of all my earnings to go to my 5 kids. Like that. It just wrote her out of it.
All right, boys, we got anything
hilarious.
else? Because I'm, 1, tired of holding this mic, and 2, really got to take a piss. We got anything else? You good, JT?
I'm good.
How was your experience on the Gridiron Garage?
It's pretty fun. Just got to figure out the mic. It's the only issue.
Yeah.
You need to talk into the front of it. So just hold it up so it sits like this.
Yeah.
You can tighten this too, right here. See a little lever? You can tighten that so it doesn't move.
Oh, thanks for telling me an hour and a half later.
Well, I mean, I
all
think
right.
it's pretty obvious, but yeah.
We mean it's pretty
So
obvious.
you see the newer logo? You need to talk right up, your
Right.
lips need to be right above that. That's how you need to talk. So you need to hold it up higher.
So, you see how the microphone's set up?
Yeah.
How you can't talk to the top of it?
Yeah.
It's all right.
Hold it
You're
up
good
higher.
next time.
Push it up. Yeah, like that. That's how you want to talk into it.
Oh,
I thought
maybe
I don't
next
know.
time.
I
Next
thought,
time.
you watching
6 months from now, next
2
time.
people with the mics on their face. I figured you'd pick it up at some point, but it's all right.
Oh, dude, I kind of just zoned out. The pod. Just was talking. I was like, I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Nah, you're good. You're good. All right, Griff, sign us off. We'll get us out of here.
Go follow us on social medias everywhere. We got @Gridiron Pod on Twitter. We got Gridiron Garage on Instagram.
Gridiron Garage Podcast
Gridiron
on
Garage
Instagram.
Podcast on Instagram. Look out for the YouTube video. It's going to be at Gridiron Garage. And JT Here's a Who.
Woo, give me a follow.
Twitter, @JT Here's a Who.
Shout out, Paul.